Hey, this is Todd Walker. I'd like to welcome everybody back for another video drum lesson. I'd also like to thank all my viewers and subscribers and everyone that sends me some great comments and emails and questions. I really appreciate it. What I want to start this lesson off with is just talking a little bit about my insight and approach towards the drumming that I've done and just the way I think about some of the techniques and styles and whatnot, and then we'll get to the performance of what I'm about to go over. Basically, I started playing drums at age 11, and at age 11, I was a young kid into what most young musicians would be, rock. So I was influenced by much of the classic rock, progressive rock, and all of the great drummers of that time. Now, once I started studying drums and taking lessons, I realized that there was other styles that were challenging, which intrigued me to practice and learn that style. So as a young rock drummer, I was soon learning about jazz and Latin and funk and rudimental, odd times and all that. But what I also realized at the time is there was such greats such as Steve Gadd, who could play in virtually any musical style, and he played it great. I just didn't want to be that rock drummer or musician that played rock, and if I got asked to play a jazz gig, the audience or musicians could tell, oh, he's a rock drummer trying to play jazz, or a jazz drummer trying to play Latin. So the challenging part of doing this is when you look into a style, my thoughts about it are, I wanted to look into the style 100% authentic, how it's played, what are the techniques, and I'm still learning and practicing. I've been drumming for 38 years and really enjoy the challenge of being asked to play certain gigs. And who would want to lose a gig or a recording session because you couldn't play that style or couldn't read charts and understand reading music? I didn't want to be that type of drummer. And in 2014 right now, we live in a very technical, chops-oriented world. And that's great. I enjoy doing it. Those of you who've seen my other videos, I have a lot of videos on that. But it's also important to remember the basics. And what I'm going to do after talking a bit is go through just a basic funk groove. Very, very simple. But again, just talking about some of my approaches to doing this. Now, when you play a certain style, once again, you can tell out there if you see a rock drummer or musician trying to emulate a jazz idea, you can tell if that individual did his homework. And everybody's different. These are just my opinions. But I was taught the discipline to, if you're going to look into something, learn it and dive in 100%. So once again, what I have for you today is basically a funk groove. 1 and 3 on the bass drum, 2 and 4 on the snare, and just playing the hi-hat with eighth notes and maybe a couple little variations. Now, when we think of the classic groups, P-Funk, the Dazz Band, Gap Band, Ohio Players, James Brown, great funk of our time. But there's also the funk of Tower of Power, Herbie Hancock, and a list of others. So there's different drumming styles. If you've listened to David Garibaldi and Mike Clark, that's a completely different funk drumming style. I'm going to demonstrate the basic of the basic. I call it simplicity with discipline. Playing simple, but to have the discipline to stay in the groove, not do any fills or anything like that. And after playing drums for many, many years, you get put in all these different styles, and to get called back, you want to play each one effectively and at the best you can. Just the other night, I was playing a rock gig, classic rock with some country. A couple days from now, I'm going to be playing a New Orleans-based gig. Then I have a recording session for a Christian artist after that, and then a gig playing some great jazz fusion music. I don't want to lose these gigs because I played 50% of how it should sound. My objective is to do the best I can. And again, I'm continuing to practice my skills to stay on top of this the best that I can. So once again, coming up, you're just going to see a funk groove. Very, very simple. And the discipline is to stay right in the pocket with that groove. It's at 100 beats per minute. Check it out. right, so there you go. The discipline of playing simple. So once again, I'm Todd Walker, and these are just my opinions and my approach to my drumming. And once again, I thank everybody out there for watching and all the great comments and emails that everybody sends me. And I'm going to leave you with a statement that the great Jerry Brown once told me. He said, Todd, we've all got to practice. I'll see you soon.